Hey guys, it's Sean O'Connell, the managing director here at CinemaBlend, and we are working our way through season 1 of the new Star Wars show, The Mandalorian. We're up to episode 2, and your reaction to the first episode was really great. We love that you guys are dialing into this show and dialing into me reacting to it. Naturally, we had a lot of getting used to the characters and figuring out where the show was going to go, and then a huge reveal at the end of episode 1, which I'm not going to mention here just in case you landed on this video by accident and you haven't yet been able to go see it. Spoiler alert, go watch season 1, episode 1 of The Mandalorian. It's terrific. So we are into episode number 2, and so I'm going to press play. You're going to follow along with me, and then to make sure that you don't miss any of the reaction videos that we do here on CinemaBlend's YouTube page, I want to make sure that you go down and hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, because once that new video posts, and we're going to be doing these Mandalorian ones every single Friday, you guys will be alerted to it immediately, and we can follow along together. Yeah, I love that. That opening is cool. Okay, you're in the episode now, so spoilers are fine. Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda. Oh, look at him. Let's see, it's just like when I first saw Gizmo. Like, he's like Gizmo for a new generation. He's so confused by everything. Actually, no, I want one. I want one. I want one for Christmas, and he has to come in that little transport. That's cool. That's cool. Ooh. Oh! This show's pretty violent. I dig it. Oh, wait a second. Is there a bounty on you now, dude? There might be a bounty on you now, dude. Look at him! Oh, I promise I'll stop overreacting to Baby Yoda soon, but not yet. Not yet. Ooh, the child. Chapter 2, the child. We have names. Oh my god, he's so cute. He's so cute. An amazing practical effect. Like, imagine if they did, like, digital Baby Yoda, like they did in the prequels. Oh, he's got fuzzy hair on the top of his head. Disney Plus people, if for some reason you happen to land on this video, I need a Baby Yoda. Please. Please. You can email me. Ask me for my mailing address. Let him help. He probably has powers. He's 50 years old. Ah! That little sound! That little sound he makes. Oh. Let him help! Probably has Jedi power. What? Freaking Jawa? Jawa. Oh. I have friends who are gonna lose their minds at this. Look at how he's watching them. Oh, they were raiding his ship. Oh, that's his ship. You scavengers! Oh my gosh! Baby Yoda as his co-pilot is the greatest thing in the world. This is a Star Wars show, obviously, but it pulls a lot from Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, this is Last Crusade. Not that it's ripping off Last Crusade, but as much as it's a Star Wars show, the influences of Indiana Jones are all over this show. Which is great. I mean, that's great. That's who the Mandalorian should be. Oh my god, what an incredible set piece. Oh. What about the child? You left the child behind. It's very valuable to you. There it is. Okay, good. Alright. I was worried for a second. Well, they scavenged his entire ship. Look at this. They left it destroyed. not going anywhere, brother. You know, this is the first time in the rebooted Star Wars universe that I literally feel like I want to, like, go into this show. I would like to be on that ship. It feels so gritty and real. And, of course, I want one of him, too. Like, I mean, that goes without saying. As if I haven't made that clear in this reaction video just yet. Ride or die, Baby Yoda.
I thought you were dead. This is what was causing all the fuss?
Yes.
My ship has been destroyed. I'm trapped here.
Stripped, not destroyed.
There's no way to recover the parts.
You can trade. I will take you to them. I have spoken.
I'm glad they kept the Nick Nolte character.
Spit that out.
Yeah, that's Raiders. That's Raiders music. I love it. It's just enough of an influence while also being its own thing, which is very cool.
They really don't like you for some reason. They will trade all the parts for the best car.
You understand this?
No.
Get away from it!
No. We got Jawas. This really is just a classic Western that happens to take place in the Star Wars universe. Pretty amazing. Okay, what is the egg? I mean, you get an anti-hero who needs one thing, and in order to get that one thing, he needs to complete a mission for another group. It's Temple of Doom. Listen, if you're going to borrow from a trilogy, then the Indiana Jones trilogy is where you borrow from. I understand. Oh, that suit is awesome. What fresh hell is waiting for you in this tunnel? Ugh! Yikes. This episode is going to end with Baby Yoda saving him. With his Jedi. Never mind. I should have learned my lesson. Don't guess. Look at that creature! So, someone put a theory in the comments underneath the first episode that Baby Yoda deflected the blast of the IG droid. And I wonder... I didn't think about that until after they said it. I'm almost wondering now, too. Oh, watch out. Help, Baby Yoda. Can you help? Huh. So tired! He's so tired now! That's gross.
Mando!
I have it.
I want 1,000 more stories with this guy. 1,000. Imagine the missions he's been on prior to this. Is wiped out.
Is it still sleeping?
Yes.
Was it injured?
Not physically.
Explain it to me again.
They know what the Force is. This is post Return of the Jedi.
This is gonna take days to fix.
No one's mentioned Jedi or Force, and they... Not that they have to, but they almost should? Should. Love a good montage. Working on the ship in a montage. The ship is fixed at the end of the montage. Good. Go with him, alien Nick Nolte. Mandalorian, alien Nick Nolte, Baby Yoda.
I can't thank you enough.
Go with him!
Please allow me to give you a portion of the reward.
I cannot accept.
I could use a crew member of your ability, and I can pay handsomely.
I am honored, but I have worked a lifetime to finally be free of servitude.
I understand.
Fine, alien Nick Nolte. I bid you adieu. Hopefully we see you again.
I have spoken.
I have spoken. Terrific send-off. And they all lived happily ever after. Series over. Time for a Christmas special. He's awake. It's like, where are we now? Fell asleep in the desert. I'm on a ship. Okay, so that was episode 2 of The Mandalorian. We learned going into the episode that this one was called The Child. Kind of just a little solo standalone adventure to get him off of the planet location where he went to retrieve the asset, which we didn't know was a Baby Yoda until we got to the end of episode 1. And before he's able to get off, obviously we go back to his ship and he learns that Jawas have been scavenging the entire ship for parts, and then in order to get his parts back, he has to complete a mission. Very video game-esque. Moving from one boss to the next boss to the next boss. He's got to get an egg. The egg is, as far as we know, inconsequential to the larger story. Just something that the Jawas kind of wanted in this moment, but it allows us to see how persistent the Mandalorian is as a character. It allows us to finally get a hint of the power that Baby Yoda, who's not Yoda, he's going to need a name eventually. I can't wait till they reveal that, because that's going to be a really cool time or moment that I'm sure that the show is building up to. But it allows us to see his powers, and it just, reinforces the fact that they're making a classic Western. Like, the show is not reinventing anything here. These are genre tropes and storylines that we've seen before, where an anti-hero on a mission gets sidetracked because in order to get one part that he needs, he's got to complete another mission that gets introduced halfway through, and it's not really spinning wheels. You learn more about the character over the course of the process of them completing the other mission, but it's giving them a side mission to complete in order to get them back on track in the main run. And that's basically what happened in episode 2 here. But it pulled a lot from... I mentioned throughout the course of the reaction to this episode how much that it's reminding me not just of Star Wars, but of the other counterpoint saga that ran parallel to Star Wars throughout the 80s, which is the Indiana Jones franchise. It feels like what we're getting with The Mandalorian is an Indiana Jones type character in a Star Wars world, which to me is... It makes sense completely because of how the storytelling methods of Lucas and Spielberg were intertwined forever, and how they collaborated on the Indiana Jones franchise, of course. But Favreau, the creator of this, obviously Dave Filoni also, and the director here, Rick Famuyiwa, these would be people who came up underneath the umbrella of Lucas and Spielberg. And so their influences, if they were going to go back to try to make an adventure story that's set in that world, would totally lift from Lucas and Spielberg. And that's what I think is what's making The Mandalorian so successful. It's also what I think is something I've been waiting for, and I kind of said this in the course of the episode, like, this is the first time that I've actually wanted to step into this world. I've been lucky enough to go down to Galaxy's Edge. This is where I actually got this t-shirt from. This is one of the Coca-Cola logos in the alien text that is relevant to Galaxy's Edge down in Orlando. And when you walked around Batuu, you feel like you're in a Star Wars story. I mean, I know that there's an immersion element to that theme park, and the workers have to pretend that they're always in Batuu. They can't break character. But as I watch The Mandalorian go through this world, I feel like I want to step into it, because they're finally doing what I think Star Wars should have been doing this entire time, which is creating stories that are connected to the world of Star Wars, but disconnected from the saga. It's not like we're trying to force characters that we recognize from previous stories, Luke or Leia or Han Solo. We appreciate when they show up in the movies, but I always wanted to see Star Wars start to branch off and tell stories of other characters that just happen to take place in this world. And so far, that's exactly what The Mandalorian has been. We're following a brand new character but he's going through universes and worlds that we definitely recognize from our time spent in the prequels, in the original trilogy, and of course in the bits that J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson created in the saga that's going to conclude with The Rise of Skywalker. So, it gives you the ability to, while this Mandalorian character is going through his adventure, cross paths with Jawas. I mean, characters that you never thought you'd see on screen before. And it makes me wonder who else is going to be coming out of the Lucasfilm archives. There's certain characters who we just won't be able to see because they didn't make it through Return of the Jedi. But it puts us into that wheelhouse where some classic characters from that original trilogy will be able to surface here in The Mandalorian. And I'm sure that Favreau and Filoni are just, biding their time and waiting to introduce some stellar ones, because the Jawas were a wild surprise. I never once dreamed I'd be able to see another story with Jawas involved. And it just made sense. Like, this was a good time for them to bring them up, and it was cool that the Mandalorian crossed paths with them. And then in order to get his parts back, that he had to go on a side mission, as I said. Production values continue to amaze me. I'm still really blown away by the score. We're 2 episodes into this 8-episode run. I'm thrilled that, from what I remember, they've already greenlit season 2. I think that means that Favreau and Filoni have an idea of a much larger story. I'm actually intrigued to see how big this story goes, right? Like, I know that right now Mandalorian's on this mission. It could be a mission that just takes place over the course of the 8 episodes, and maybe there's a tease at the end of that sets up a bigger world for him to go to. But I love, like I said in the middle of this episode, I just want to see him on more missions. Like, I want 1,000 stories of the Mandalorian just being a total badass and going on missions throughout the galaxy. And it wouldn't be totally unusual to see, gosh, how would they do this? To see Luke Skywalker show up in The Mandalorian. God, that would be mind-blowing to see something like that happen. So we're getting ahead of ourselves. This was episode 2. It's called The Child. We don't know the titles of the other episodes as we go, so they will be surprise reveals as we get to them. I will be back for a reaction to episode 3 next Friday. I want you to tell me what you think about the show so far. So head down to the comment section, weigh in on not just the Mandalorian show and your experiences with Disney Plus in general, but I want to hear your reactions to this reaction series. So I'll meet you back here next Friday when episode 3 of season 1 drops. We'll find out what the name of it is. We'll find out now that little baby Yoda is awake, and maybe by then Disney Plus will have sent me one. Disney Plus. I'm not above asking you guys to send me a baby Yoda, but he's got to come. Listen, he has to come in a little transport. Like, that little transport is that's a deal breaker. I mean, it doesn't have to float. I'm not going to ask for it to be remote controlled, but he needs a place to sit. Like, he's got to be comfortable, right? That's a little baby Yoda. Again, go down, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, follow along with me as I watch through all 8 episodes of season 1 of The Mandalorian, and I have to end this the only way that anyone else can end this. I have spoken.